What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you one of your favorite guests. I know, one of the most popular people in all of Pretoria, the one, the only Azircon, or as I'm hearing many folks around Pretoria call you now, AZ for short, it seems. But Azircon, welcome back to the channel. I'm glad we're doing this more often now. But how have you been, my friend?
I'm good. When is the last time we did this? And, people call me AZ for a very long time, so that's nothing new.
Really? Okay. For some reason, I guess I've been hearing it in. So I watched the video you did with Dwayne. I saw the People's Guild conversation you had. So you've been making the rounds, and obviously there's a lot to be excited about, a lot to talk about right now with Conclave Arcana and Land. So I'm just curious. Oh, you asked when did we last talk? I think it was towards the end of last year. So it's maybe been 5-6 months. I'd have to double check, but not as long as the one previous to that.
Yeah.
But how have you been otherwise?
Oh, very good. Busy, both work-wise and game-wise. I don't know which one takes higher priority these days. But this week's been a very good week. So I'm talking to you from Cancun, Mexico. So
very nice.
I am off this week. And what is even better, that I came here on Sunday. So today's Monday, right? Today's Monday.
Today's Tuesday. Yeah.
Today's Tuesday.
Oh,
See,
you are on vacation. I like it.
On vacation. See, that's what you want.
If you lose track of days,
I have a beautiful view of the ocean right in front of me. So I can turn the camera and show you at some time. But it's very relaxing. And here's the kicker. I came here on Sunday, and my family is still in Houston because kids have school. So they are coming here on Thursday. So I have Sunday to Thursday here on my own.
Just enjoying it, huh?
I can do whatever I want. And although most of the time looks like I'm in front of the computer doing stuff, but still, I had a work meeting right before this. So I'm just finishing one and getting to the other one. But I do not have any more. And these are fun things to do. So, I'm very relaxed and I have plenty of time.
Well, I appreciate you spending your precious solo time here on the channel with us. You're the one who had actually reached out, so I know that there's probably a lot that you want to talk about. And like I said, I heard your conversation with. I saw the video with Dwayne, so obviously there's a lot that you're trying to do with Land, and then you guys went really deep into the Conclave Arcana stuff with the People's Guild. So I'm curious to know where your head is at beyond what you've discussed with them, or if you want to rehash some of the same topics.
No, I reached out to you specifically because there are many people who said or saying constantly, because remember, we have people that took a sabbatical from the game, took time off, and some of them are coming back. You see them on Discord all the time, and they're asking different questions. And some of those questions are on Land. And if you look around, there isn't much of a sort of a tutorial, or not just tutorial. It's just like the thought process, how things are done, how people are managing Land. None of these are available that much in either written form or video form.
Yeah.
So that was my driver, because I think it's BJ who first mentioned that, or could be Fat Jimmy, that there isn't much out there. So I said immediately, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to After Sound and see if we can do some of this video, because this is very visual. So oftentimes it's not easy to do it on a podcast where people actually cannot see your screen, because you are trying to do a lot on screen and showing and talking on the screen. So I thought, that would be much more helpful. So that was my driver.
Gotcha. No, and you know what? That makes sense, because Land 1.5 came out, we'll call it like 18 months ago, right? A year and a half ago at the end of 2023. And I think a lot of people saw that. They were a little disappointed. Maybe they checked out for whatever reason in 2024. And the thing is, there have been slow, steady, methodical updates to land that have happened every couple of months. And now we've gotten 1.75. But to your point, there's like, if somebody missed the last 18 months, if you were here, then you kind of understood, okay, oh, land, we're doing this with land, then we're switching this, then we're doing that. But if you just kind of came back, land could look completely different now. And Cryptomancer's
Yeah,
done a good job of really revamping a lot of the things there.
yeah. So, especially with the new resources, right?
Yeah.
Back when land started, you just set it up, you put some cards in, you clear the plot either with the time crystals or with your cards. By the
Hmm.
way, remind me if I forget, you should never clear your land with time crystals. I have
Oh,
done that, and that's a big mistake. You should never do that.
interesting. Okay.
Anyways, we'll get into that.
Okay.
But and then you put the cards in and you forget about it, right?
Hmm.
There are some people come in every week and then they went to Peak Monster and do the claims because
Yeah.
it's very easy to do the claims in Peak Monster. Also, I think there in export there is an auto claim feature, or then there are other tools. There is an auto claim
Yeah.
feature. So if you set that up, then you really don't do anything about it.
It's completely hands off at that point.
It's completely hands off at that point. So the first thing that happened with the new resources is if you leave it hands off, you are in for a big trouble because it's going to completely mess up your resource management. That's the first thing.
Hmm.
And it's going to cost you real money. So whenever it is going to cost you real money, people get
Upset.
involved,
Yeah.
people get upset, and rightfully so. And then people want to do some active participation, which is a good thing, right?
Hmm.
Active participation in any game is always a good thing. So that's
Agreed.
what's new, and that's why we wanted to have this conversation.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm ready to start wherever you'd like to. I know you have a lot of things that you wanted to go through, so I'll let you go ahead and lead.
Okay, so let's start with the first thing we talked about, right? So you
Mhm.
you got some land, and maybe you had land before. Maybe you are a fresh person. Like there are a lot of people after I made that People's Guild podcast. I received 4 or 5 DMs asking me
Mhm.
uh, that do you I want to get into land, and can you help me with that? And
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
essentially,
Actually,
huh?
that's awesome that
Yeah,
people
yeah,
wanted to get
and
into it. Yeah.
not just that. On that podcast, I actually made an offer that, oh look, I have this whole region of land, and I have it sitting for upwards of 2 years. There is no way that I am going to be utilizing all of it. So
Hmm.
it is sitting idle, but I do not want to sell it. I want to own the entire region because, maybe in future I want to do it, right? I
Yeah.
want to have that option. And also the other reason I do not want to sell it, that, I don't need it for anything else. I don't need that money. Like if a land plot is $13 or $12,
Hmm.
whatever it is, if I sell 10 plots of land for $12, that's $120. That is not going
That's
to
not gonna
buy me
change your
much,
life at all.
right? It's not going to buy me anything, even in Conclave Arcana, right?
That's true.
What are we talking about? Like $4 a pack, and
Yeah. If you go for the bigger packs, it's gonna buy you barely anything.
yeah, barely anything, right? So yeah, there are $12 packs, right? So that's a different conversation. We may not want to get into that like early on. I mean, we can later on if you want,
Hmm.
but yeah, so $120 is not going to get me anything, right? So
Yeah.
and if I sell it, and this is not just with land, this is with anything in my life. I always think about it this way: if I sell something, I don't have it anymore,
Hmm.
right? And it's like oh, Mr. Captain Obvious here, right? You were saying that, but um, I own Apple stock for the last 25 years. Some
Hmm.
Apple stock I own for last 25 years. I own some Nvidia stock for last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if I sold NVIDIA, and my average price in NVIDIA is like under $2.
Okay.
And it traded at 130, 140, right? So if I sell
Wow.
it, I won't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And I could sell it like on the first bump, right? I could have sold NVIDIA stock on the first bump for 30. I could sell it for 60. I could sell it for 70. And remember, NVIDIA did 4-to-1 split, like, 4
Oh,
times.
yeah.
So that's why your average cost basis goes way down,
Way
right?
down.
They split like 4-to-1, 3-to-1 over again. And if you do that like 3 or 4 times, it is insane, right? And then at that point in time, if you sell, there is a tax consequences, right? You're going to take a capital gain and all of that. So to make long story short, I don't like to sell stuff. I never like to sell anything. Like even the houses and stuff, I rent it out. I have multiple houses in Houston and other places. I buy it. I never want to sell it, because if I sell, I take a capital gain.
Yeah.
And I don't want capital gain.
So do you find other ways to make income on it then? So with real estate,
exactly.
that's
So for
straightforward.
Houses, it's very simple. You rent it out, right? You put tenants on it, and then it's an income, and that's like a dividend. And in tax, in US tax law, an income like a dividend income and a capital gain are treated very differently.
Yeah.
Right. And if you put tenant in a property, in a house, I have multiple single family house, you actually get to take depreciation on the house. So your price of the house keeps on going down till zero, and you get to collect the income. So there is all these different things. So I treat the land in Splinterland very similar to the real land, like, or real property.
Real property.
I am invested in real estate. My wife invests in real estate. So this is like very basic stuff to any real estate investors. Like, you don't like to take capital gain. So that's why I don't want to sell land. And I want to have the land for as long as you can, want, and then I want to pass it down to my kids. That's my goal forever, right? You own it forever. So with that said, let's just talk about the time crystal thing, and we'll start from there, right? Because we made a comment on that. Right? So now I'm going to share my screen, and I'll keep on talking as I.
There we go. All right.
Do you see it?
Yeah, it's up here now. I can see it on the bigger screen here.
Okay, excellent. So this is the simple land screen. Like if you click on play and land, this is where you land. And I'm just going to first show what's my holding situation currently. So if you see, if you click on production, this is what you get. So I have this whole region number 10, Highmore, and I have a tract and a few loose plot in Quagmore, like 112, and then I have just a few plots in 15 plots in 47, and I have a
single plot there.
Lone single keep. This one is a keep.
That's a keep. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's a single keep. It's a bizarre story, so I can get into that bizarre story. See, this is a single keep.
Yeah. Yep.
Just a single forest keep. So, and the bizarre story is, and this is how I get disorganized. I said I'm going to talk about time crystal, but I'm talking about.
I'll remind you. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. So the interesting story is, I just look one day that I have a single one plot of land unclaimed somewhere, and I don't know where I got it from. I have never claimed it, and it's been probably years.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, I better claim it. And I claimed it, and it's a keep.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It's a single plot of land, plot of land. So that's, I thought it was
congratulations.
Really
that's awesome. I had something similar, but mine ended up being like a magic plot. So it was like, so I have like one single plot in one of the further out regions.
Right.
and it's now my only magical plot. So I think I'm actually going to turn it online with the new aura that's coming out.
Mhm. Okay, so one thing I typically do, like I want to show the viewers what the status of this particular region of mine is. So
Hmm.
this is my region, region 10, and if I click on developed, this is what is developed,
Yep.
and it is about 30% of it, right? So
Hmm.
I have a lot of unused land. So let's just turn on the unused land. So these are the
Yeah.
unused land,
Did you
correct?
have like certain ones you were prioritizing over
Right.
others?
So what I did, I have populated um, all my epic, legendary, and most of my rares,
Okay.
right, in terms of land types.
Hmm.
So all I have left is essentially commons. So again, this is the simplest way to do it, and I just quickly switch to Beaker's website. So there is a tab here, and in your text when you do it, you can just put the link of this. It's pretty straightforward.
Splinter-lands. Okay, yeah, I have actually not used this before, so
Yeah,
I'm
you
glad
should
I'm
do
getting a
that.
little bit of
This is a great place
great tool.
to understand. So okay, so this is the total production of Pretoria, and I can explain this chart in a minute, but let's just focus on just my region, which is 10. So this chart will update. Okay, so this
Hmm.
is 10, and in region 10, looks like I produce a lot of grain, iron, and wood. I don't produce much stone because you'll see in a second there
Hmm.
isn't any stone
Yeah, yeah.
that can be produced, and the rest is just normal stuff, research and tax. I own all the capes because I own the entire region.
Are you not going for
If
any SPS there?
I am not going for any SPS there.
Interesting.
That's
Okay,
another. That's we should talk about it. We should talk about it. This
go
this
for
is
it.
this is another trigger mechanism, right?
Hmm.
So, but this is the page I want to hit, and I'm zooming in slightly so that you can see clearly. I clicked on summary,
Hmm.
and see this summary kind of shows you very clearly what are the types of rarity of
Yep.
all your region,
Land there.
right? So common plots. So a region has 1,000 plots, and common plots are 722. So 72% of my plots, or most regions, some regions are really good that they are kind of down in the 60s,
Hmm.
which is great. If you own a region like that would be great. But most regions are in the 700s. So I am in 722 commons, 200 some rare, 41 epic, and 11 legendary. So I have populated all of my epic and legendary,
Okay.
most of my rares, and some commons. So that's my status. So I have a lot of commons that I have left, and that was the conversation with Dwayne, who
Hmm.
was interested in farming some land, and I offered, okay, why don't you take 10 common plots from me and farm it? So that was that conversation. So I'm going to pause and ask you a question.
Well, I just wanted to say for people who may not have seen the Dwayne video, do you want to just do like a 30-second how your arrangement with him works?
Oh, very, very good. Yeah, very simple. So what it is, and I can even do it visually. So if I turn it off, track 4 and track 4 and undeveloped, and survey status. No, not survey status. Um, not the geography, right? So it's bog, lake, and river. Bog Lake and River. Yeah. So what he did, actually it is not showing up. So I'm going to turn them back off. Right. Right. And then developed. Yeah. So both under construction, is it going to show up? Yes, there it is. Okay. So this is the right. So under construction, because he's constructing it as we speak, it is not developed here.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is, he wanted some grain plots, and remember the grain, as per the white paper, grain now only can be produced in plains, river, bog, and
Bog.
lake.
Yeah.
So we had this conversation, like if you want to do grain, because the grain is most simple, right? It doesn't require anything else, and everything else requires grain. So if you want to be sustainable in land, you should be producing some grain at least, and it
Mm-hmm.
is very simple. So he said, "Oh no, I wanted to produce some grain, so I want some grain plots." So then it was obvious that you need plain, river, bog, and lake,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the only terrain types now that produce grain, unlike previously where you can produce grain in everywhere. So we chose which of my terrains has those. So we actually landed on some river and bog plots. So 3 block plots and
Yeah. Yeah. All
7 river plots.
all grain though.
All grain. They're all
Mm-hmm.
grain. And so the conversation was, okay, I am going to send this plots to him, to Dwayne, because we do not have any way to lease
Like,
it
or delegated or something. Yeah.
or delegate it, right? Because land surfing, we can't the concept with departure of hardpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not have the resources to develop it right now in short and medium term.
Yeah.
So the only way we can make it happen is either he sends me the cards to put it on those plots, or I send him the land to put his cards on those lands. Now, if he sends me the card, it's a nightmare scenario for me, because then I do not know which part of the grain is his, which part of the grain is mine, and I just do not want to deal with
Okay.
it. So what I decided, Dwayne is someone I trust, and
Yeah. Oh,
this
he's known in
conversation
the
is
community.
public. It's a known figure. I am pretty well known. He is well known. So where he is going to where he's going to go? Like he's going to take my plot and disappear? Well, if he
Yeah.
does, so be it, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, he's not going to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we decided, I'm just going to send him 10 plots, and that's what I did, and he populated those 10 plots, and he's actually currently working them, and that's what it is showing as
Okay.
under construction. So that's in short, that's what I did with Dwayne.
Gotcha. Okay. Now let's go back to the time crystals thing before we move on.
Time crystals. So I have no time crystal. That's the first thing you see. So
Mm-hmm.
the conversation with Dwayne went this way. Okay. So let's say you have a plot of land and you want to put some cards in it. So what happens that cards take a certain amount of time to clear the plot,
Mm-hmm.
because this plot is not cleared, right? It has never been developed.
Yep.
And you can do that with time crystals instantly, right? You can purchase, like you can go to this shop and market and other items. Like you can purchase it directly from the game, but that is
Mm-hmm.
more expensive. But
Yeah.
here you have time crystals,
From other
and
people.
for a common plot, it takes 150. So you can spend $11 and get your land going at this instant.
Mm-hmm.
But you have spent $11.
Yeah.
If you haven't spent $11, it will take what Dwayne did, Dwayne, I think, put somewhere around like 3,000 to 4,000 PP cards on
Hmm.
these plots. And that takes anywhere from 4 to 7 days to clean, depending on, because he put some beta there, some untamed
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and some. So it's all varies depending on the boost, correct? So it goes from 4 days to 7 days to clear. So you got to think about it. Okay, I'm going to produce grain, and I'm going to produce how much grain? I don't know, maybe 200 grains per hour in those plots. And you multiply that 200 times 10 plots, so 2,000 grains per hour. So then multiplied by 7 days, correct? So
Hmm.
calculator, so 7 days, and I'm just doing a back of the envelope, right?
Yeah,
None of
yeah.
this has to be accurate. Times 7 days times 2,000. Sorry, I messed up.
200.
Uh, 200 grain. Let's say you get 200 grains per hour net. So 200
Hmm.
grains times 24 hours in a day. So that's 1 day in one plot times 10 plot times 10. So that much grain you get in 1 day
In
from
one
10
day.
plots,
Hmm.
times, if it takes 7 days to clear, times that 7. So that's 336,000 grains. That's your 1 week worth of production if you clean it with time crystal right now, correct?
Yeah, so it's obviously not worth it based on the price
Right.
of
It's
grain.
not obviously not worth it. That's the point, because the cost of the time crystal is $11 and 336,000 grains. We're going to check real quick.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, keep in mind, 150, $11. That's only for one plot. You'd have to do that for 10 plots.
yeah, I did multiply it by 10.
Oh, you did multiply. Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Yes, I did multiply. So I'm just going to put 336,000 here. 336,000.
Hmm.
Enter. 336,000 grains is $3.
Yeah,
$3.1, right?
it's better to
In
just be
these.
patient and work it.
Exactly. And plus, if you pay that money, it's gone, right?
Hmm.
That's not coming back. So that's just gone, and you are starting it with $7 under or $8 under, whatever that number is. So
Yeah.
that's why you should not be using time crystals unless this equation works in your favor, which in today's scenario I don't see how that it will ever be with whichever PP you put in and whatever type of plot you have.
Yeah, I mean, everything still seems like it's in price discovery mode right now with land, and I think the good part about that is that Cryptomancer and the team are going to be delivering updates that will shake up the equilibrium. So it'll be hard to settle things for a while, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
yeah,
I agree.
so that was the deal with time crystals, and
Hmm.
uh, I am kind of a very average landowner. So compared to many other people, I do not have a lot of very high PP card on land that is farming a
Hmm.
lot of rewards. So majority of my if you look at some of my common grain plots, so now I'm in peak monsters. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just turned on grain, and I turned on common, and I'm going to say developed. So these are my developed grain plots. So I'm going to go to number 10, and I'm just going to just in the middle of the line, I'm just going to take a random one. I do not even know which one this is. So I'm just clicking on it to see what I have in here, and there is nothing happening. That is
Oh,
not
there it
the,
is.
yeah, there it
No,
is.
there it is.
Okay, so look at this. Look at this. this is a good example, a good random example, and I'm going to show you even worse example. This is a common land plot, and what do I have? I have some random cards. I
Yeah.
have this level 1 feral spirit, right? And I have this 5000 pp, so that looks like a max. This is not max, this is level 1. So basically a random set of cards. So if I go kind of a lower number, let's see.
Do you have a totem on every land plot there?
Not really. Like in this one, I do.
Yeah.
Because these are the ones. Oh, there you go. This is a perfect example. 1000 pp.
Oh, that's just max, right? Max
Right.
common.
1000 pp reward commons and a totem. And I know if so, the only boost this thing has is the totem boost and the region boost. Because I think this is a grain plot, so it's probably a plane. Is it a plane?
Yes.
Yes, it's a plane. So plane gets a dragon and life,
And life,
10% boost. So this is a life card, this is a dragon card. So just due to that, it has the 10% boost and the 10% boost on totem. That's all the boost there is. So with all the boost, so if it is just 1000 pp each, it would be 5000 pp, right?
Yeah.
So it gets the 5500, the 10% boost, and the totem boost. So the total boosted pp is 6050,
Okay.
which is really tiny.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered.
All things considered, it's really tiny. And see, this is the number you got to be looking for. 121 per hour. A lot of my common plots generate 121 grain per hour, and you got to pay the taxes. You always pay taxes. So you take 50 out of it. So what we left with? 121 minus 50.
So,
121 minus 50. 71. That's my production per hour. So 71 times 24 hours in a day, 1700. So 1700 in a day. So 1700 DC.
Oh gosh.
1700 grain.
Yeah.
1700 DC is 15 DC.
That's a penny and a half at peg. At peg.
Yes. So
Per day.
if you are thinking about but remember, I put $50 worth of, forget about the cards. Let's say cards are free, because those are like reward cards. They are probably $2. So if I factor in the cards, $2 worth of card, like each card, so 5 cards, that's $10. And then 50,000 DC. So that's $50. So that's $60. And yeah, I mean, I got power code for free. So when I did it, so but $60, if I get 0.01 cent a day, my break even is probably 6 to 7 years. Right? So clearly, if you're thinking about this current price, there is no reason to calculate ROI. That's why I am very much against ROI. Right? In crypto, you should not be calculating ROI, because it is very volatile. You do not know where the prices is. The prices can be 10x tomorrow, and then you are going to hit it, but it may stay right here for, I don't know, 3 years, and then if this is your money for food, you better get some other source of money. That's my take.
Well, especially in crypto, ROI is just a snapshot, right? Snapshot in time right now. Everything can change within the market, to the upside, to the downside, within hours or days.
Yeah. So that's essentially the way it is. I don't know. Have you seen this particular plot? The grain factor plot. Have you seen this
No,
one?
I haven't spent very much time on this. In fact, I don't think I've spent any time on this. I remember I think you did a post about it on Peak D a little while
Mm-hmm.
back, and I remember reading that, and I just haven't had a chance. So, splinter-lands.streamlit.app. I'll make sure that we share this out there, and I'll start using it more regularly.
Yes. So let me explain this, because this is where, instead of ROI, I think this is what people need to concentrate on.
Okay.
So, each of the plots, let's just open one random plot, right? I'm going to go to production and I'm going to stay in game, because that's, we should always stay in game in terms of, the interface. That is one of the basic interface. So, okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. So random plot, I'm just going to open up this random plot. Okay, so this plot is producing 116 per hour, so probably have just a little bit better cards. So
Mm-hmm.
if I click on manage,
Yeah, you have a legendary there,
there you
an
go.
older
So
card.
yeah, but it's only, I think it's a level 1000, right? And it got a totem burst, and it has a older cards, but it's not max or anything. So anyways, if we just look at this, plot, and if we think about, oh, what is the production rate? The production rate for this is 116 per hour. Now, if I open a wood plot, I go ahead and I got a wood right here, but this is a different terrain type. If I get a wood in natural plot, yeah. So this is a rare. So this wood is producing 30 wood per hour. And there is a relationship between the PP and the production rate,
Mm-hmm.
correct? And this thing essentially talks about that. So I'm going to zoom in so that you can see very clearly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that they have it shown in green.
Right. So again, one wood, in terms of just production rate, if you just consider the production rate, one wood
Mm-hmm.
should be worth 4 grain. One stone should be worth 10, and
Ah.
one
Yep.
iron should be worth 40. Iron has the highest difficulty of production. It
Mm-hmm.
produces slowly, so it takes more time to produce. So it's if you just factor in the production rate, it has the most higher cost. So it costs 40 grain, but that's in theory. So that is the supply side of the equation. So now if you look at this plot, plots the value or the price of each of the resources every day. And this is the only website right now that is out there
Just doing
that
this.
plots it every day. So you can actually see a curve, right? It's one data point a day, so it's not a continuous. You
Now,
cannot do a candlestick, but it's something.
so and again, this is just the resource to grain ratio.
Right.
So
This is
they've
the
all
grain.
lost
We
value
call it the
versus
grain
grain.
factor. We
Yeah.
call it the grain factor. So 1 is the price of the grain. So it is always going to be 1. The grain factor of grain is 1.
Mm-hmm.
So as if you have taken DC out of the equation and you are pricing everything against grain, correct?
Yes.
So price of 1 grain is always 1 grain if it is priced in grain.
Correct.
So what is the price of wood now in terms of grain? So currently, price of wood in terms of grain
I mean, they've
is
all collapsed.
4.63. So the price is not the supply side. This is the demand side.
Mm-hmm.
So market makes the demand, right? So the commodities are priced whichever way market trades. And I am in the commodity business, so I'm in the oil business. So we do this a lot all
Yeah.
the time. And this is a very valuable plot, because you always want to see if a commodity is fairly priced, undervalued, or overvalued. So
Mm-hmm.
when it started trading, this gray color is stone. Stone was since their stone production was pretty low, for whatever reason, stone was trading at a huge premium, like a 2.8 factor premium against the grain. And then as we all produce
Wait,
stone,
what should stone be at right now?
what should everything, if nothing, if a market is at equilibrium, everything should be at 1.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading this the wrong way. I thought stone should be 10x of grain, right? But it's
No,
not 10 to 1. Okay.
everything should be because this is a grain factor plot.
Okay. Yeah. So
If
everything
the
was trading at a
market is
premium.
fairly valued,
Yeah.
all commodities should approach the fair value. They should all
Okay.
trade at one line.
Yep. No, I see it now. That I was reading the y-axis wrong. Okay. So
Yeah.
right now at this point, the only thing that's trading at fair value when compared to grain is stone. You
Yes.
have what is it? Iron and wood that are both
This
undervalued
is iron
significantly.
and this is wood. So iron is undervalued by 22%, so it's 0.78.
Now,
And wood is undervalued by 0.63, so inverse of that, 37%.
I have a question for you though, and this is just like open ended, but do you think that grain could actually be overvalued in the sense of there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction when this was coming out? We were going to go through a 75% reduction in grain plot production, so you had Vugtis and Cryptomancer all spiking up the value of grain, and it's like slowly and steadily coming down. But I don't know that we've hit the fair market value of grain yet, which
How
means that
is Baptist and Cryptomancer spiking up the value of grain?
well, remember, I mean, grain did like I think a 2x from like it was like 0.007 DEC up to 1.5 DEC.
Yeah,
Now it's
so
trading at like 0.01
yeah,
or something. But
we can
point.
look at the grain like the true value plot, right? So
Mhm.
I think it's 1000 DEC. There you
Yeah.
go. So grain was so this is 1000 DEC. Sorry, this 1000 resources. Sorry, 1000 DEC would be the idea. So grain. In 1000 DC, you get right now 97,000 grains. So the grain prices are dropping. And you were talking about back then when it was launching, grain prices were higher. So for
Correct. Yeah.
1000 DC, you would get 67,000 grains. And this is
You
the flip side of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there.
I'm just saying we artificially pumped the price of grain. Well, maybe artificially is not the right word, but we absolutely pumped the price of grain before 1.75 came out. You had a lot of big buyers that didn't know how quickly their grain would be consumed, so they loaded up. And there
Mhm.
were like, and because people didn't know what was happening, there weren't really any net sellers of grain anymore. So the price kind of stayed up there. Now that we're
Yeah.
starting to hit this equilibrium, grain is starting to come back down. But
Mhm.
my question is then, like, going back to the grain factor chart, is it that grain is overvalued, or is it
Uh,
true what the chart is showing that and again, I'm talking about in absolute terms. I mean, obviously in
no.
relative terms, you can see that the other two, wood and iron, are undervalued compared to grain, but they don't exist in a vacuum, right? At the end of the day,
Mhm.
somebody may want
Nothing
to cash
exists
this
in the
out
vacuum.
for DEC.
Right.
So I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so it's a very good point, and I'm glad you asked this question. What you are talking about, that is short term, and I will explain why I say that. Because if I look at just my plot, and it's an average, and I do know I have 31% of my plots active at this point in time.
Hmm.
Okay, in my region, because that's a decent enough data set. I will show you something very simple. What do you see in this ultrasound?
You're not producing as much grain as you need.
Right, right. My per hour requirement is about 28,000.
Hmm.
I am producing about 19,000. Each hour, my grain is at a deficit. So
Hmm.
28, 19, 9,000. 9,000 grain in this region, and I am at 31%. in this region, I am running a 9,000 grain per hour deficit. So
Deficit. Yeah.
let's just do the math. 9,000 grain per hour times 24 hours, 200,000 grains per day. If I
Yeah.
don't do anything, if I let this plot run its course and I do not add or subtract and don't do any mumbo jumbo with it, let's
Hmm.
calculate times 1 year. And in 1 year, a lot of new functionalities will be added,
Correct.
correct?
Hmm.
And
But
they will
you,
all require grain.
but
In 1 year, I would need 78 million
mhm.
grain.
Well, the beauty of it, though, which you're not capturing here, is that you're getting value in other resources that you could trade for your grain
Correct.
deficit, right?
I
Which,
could.
which obviously makes. I mean, that's the beauty of land because then we burn DEC through that process.
Yes. And again, I am really glad you made that comment. But look at my other resources, right?
Hmm.
So this is specific, not Pacific Northwest, pristine Northwest, which actually I think has something to do with Pacific Northwest
They should have
because
just
it's a
called it that.
wooded area.
Yeah.
It's a wooded area, so I produce a
Mhm.
lot of wood in this area. So I do have a surplus of wood. Okay.
Mhm.
So my requirement is 2,600 and I produce say 4,600. So I am running a 2,000 wood
Wood
surplus.
surplus. Yeah.
So I can potentially sell my wood, sell my surplus wood for grain
Hmm.
and manage my deficit. Correct? That's what you're saying. Because
Yeah.
remember, by the way, did I say I do not have any stone?
Yeah. And
This
you.
region has 9 stone plots, and that's it.
Oh, and you're running all of them.
I'm running all of them. I'm running 100% because, and look, I am running a massive deficit. And stone, remember, is one of the most expensive. Let's go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
to our grain plot, right? Go back to our grain fractal plot. Stone has always been the most expensive resource.
I wonder why. I mean, right,
Right.
right,
Because if
right
you
now
look
our
at the
inputs are all equal.
no, not all equal. Not all equal. And I'll show you. I can prove it, I can demonstrate it. So if you don't consider, if you take demand out of the equation, if you just stay with supply,
Hmm.
iron should be the most valuable resource because iron has the maximum production difficulty.
Well,
So
okay, so
one
so
iron
it's not
was
supply, it's production, it's production
production.
availability.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
production. Supply side, I'm equating the supply side to
yeah, yeah.
production. That's all. It is production. So it has the most production difficulty. However, remember, all Praetorian land is not active, correct?
Yeah.
Only 30% of the land is active.
I think I know where you're going. So that means a lot of stone plots are not online.
Right. There you go.
Interesting. Okay.
And in here, you can see this.
Oh,
And
can
you
you?
don't
I,
have
I
to
was looking
take
for a
it.
place to find it.
Yes, you got it. We have it. You can see it. So
Oh,
notice production. And here, this is all the grain production or PP. All the PP is proportional to the production, correct?
Yeah.
So this is all the grain, all the PP that is put on grain. So notice how much total PP there is. There is about 150 million PP on grain in Pretoria. Look how much there is in wood and iron. About the same, right?
95,
In the
94,
95,
92. Yeah.
92 million. Look in stone, 81.
Interesting. Okay.
So you got your answer. And that
Yeah.
is
So
entire Pretoria.
so that presents an arbitrage opportunity for people that
Yes,
have access to stone.
right. People who have access to stone. And not just that, even before this, people were thinking about it even before this was online.
Mm-hmm.
I will show you there is a region. There is a region that produces only iron. There is a region which produces only iron.
Let's see.
There you go.
Oh, the top one.
And it is produces an order of magnitude iron, like twice compared to the next
The next
region.
one, yeah.
And this was set up just like that as an iron producer. Region 63.
Interesting.
Okay. And do you
What about
want to
for
know who owns Region 63?
is that Bugtis?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Uh-huh. Let's see. Production overview. No, I think summary would be the idea. Yes. So region 63. So we can go to 63. Look at that.
That's Aki.
Uh-huh. So this is Aggie's arbitrage bet on land, because he knows in terms of production difficulty, iron is the hardest thing to produce. So over long term, the price of iron should actually be higher.
Well, so that's what I was trying to bring up earlier. As long as so right now we have the outputs that are all proportional to whatever, and it's just a supply demand, or sorry, it's just there's no demand, right? It's just supply being put out based on what people have available. But we will get, and sorry, the demand inputs that we have for SPS and research right now are all proportional to that same thing. It's just we don't have the supply side for stone, for example, right? Stone isn't being supplied in the same at the same capacity as the other two, but their inputs are all still proportional, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, when you go in and you claim your research or you claim your SPS, it's all going to be proportional to the production rates. But the production rates at this point don't matter. What matters is how much is actually being produced.
Yes.
And what could change things?
For you.
Yeah.
It matters for you, and I will demonstrate. Because I think if you demonstrate, that would become very clear. So we are going to go to Highmoor again, and I'm going to click on this harvest all button. Correct? So notice right now, in order to claim this research, by the way, I have no SPS turned on. You know what? The Highmoor is not going to be good, because I will tell you why it is not going to be good. Let's go to this other region.
Okay.
Wait. See, no, this is still showing all positive. So then let's go back to her, because I was hoping one of them would show negative.
You'd be in a deficit.
Yeah. One of them would show negative, but I can use this one. So look, compared to when I last claimed, because the clock resets when I last claimed, right? So from that time, which is right now, what was that? Sorry, we'll go back again. 7 hours ago. 7 hours ago, I did the last claim. So right now, let's look at the situation. And I have no SPS going. So all my other resources are only required in the research plot. If I had SPS going, I turned off all the SPS. I converted them to whatever terrain they are, and they're producing that commodity. And I'll tell you why, because this is very simple to explain. So in my terrain that I have turned on, and this is the maximum amount of card I have, I am stretched like paper thin. Honestly, I'm stretched paper thin. And I generate in 7 hours, I generate 32,000 or 33,000 wood. My requirements are about 20,000. So I'm running a surplus. So I'm okay, right? I'm okay. Look at stone. Remember, I told you I have only 9 plots of stone. I only produce in 7 hours 2,300. and my requirement at 7,000. Now I am not at a deficit. Why? Because I went into the market
And had to buy
I
some.
bought stone.
So you're the one that's pumping up the price of stone relative to
Yes,
grain.
yes, and not just the stone. After sound, I have remember I told you, if I run this same grain deficit in 1 year, I would need 78 million grain.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll show you something real quick. So if I go ranking, and I'm in pristine Northwest, and I'm going to click on grain. Look how much grain we have.
Well, you'll use up what, maybe 75% of that within a year.
Now, wait. Remember, what is my grain production? This is my total grain production.
Hmm.
Look, I am at 23,000. I produce much less compared to all these other people.
Hmm.
These guys are producing 47,000, 36,000, right? I
Yeah.
produce only 23,000. How come I have this much grain?
You bought it.
Yes, I could not possibly produce it. I
Well,
haven't
so
produced it.
do you have all of your grain plots online?
Huh?
Do you have all of your grain plots online? I mean, obviously not,
No, I
right?
do
So
not. But remember, even if I do, it costs money to bring a plot
yeah.
online, right? I have to buy 50,000 DEC. I am out of cards. I am out of
Wow.
cards. So I have to buy cards.
So let
It
me
costs money. So it cost about $70 to bring a grain plot online.
let me ask you this, because I don't know how much you're participating or your account is participating in survival mode, but what is the incentive then to even bother with land with survival mode offering such high of an SPS yield? And you saw this with like Neil McSpadden, for example. I believe he took all of his cards off of land and essentially just went into survival mode.
Yes. You know, Bhaktis probably has a much deeper collection than Neil. And
Hmm.
Neil has a lot of older cards, and they're all, a lot of them are not combined. So, you know, if you look at his game history, he's essentially running that account as a liquidity bot.
Hmm.
So, you know, he just provides liquidity and, you know, he gets rewarded for it, right?
Yeah.
But he actually made a bet, and whether it's a right bet or not, only time will tell. He's given up on land.
Yeah. Well,
So,
he's given up a head start on land.
yes, so he has given up a head start on land and he is driving towards cash. He
Hmm.
is getting SPS, and, you know, which is, you know, our version of cash, right? That is the only
Yeah.
cash we have at this point, because we don't get DEC from anything else. So SPS is essentially cash.
Exactly. Yep.
He's going for value in present versus somebody like Vaktis, who has 75 or 78 million research point.
Hmm.
Cryptomancer, let's just do research. So unless you are telling me, and we go all Pretoria, and this is great conversation actually, because this is what people need to think about. There is no right or wrong answer. There
Yeah.
is always two sides of the story, right?
Well, and this is why I'm
Where
asking
we have it.
you personally, like why have you chosen to keep all of your cards on land
Yeah, yeah. I'll
rather
tell
than
you.
going for survival?
I will tell you. I will tell you. These are the two biggest research point owners of Pretoria.
Hmm.
73 million, followed by Cryptomancer at 15 million. I am
Yeah.
at 2.5. I'm like a minnow compared to this guy. So unless you are telling me, so this is future, research has no value right now, correct?
Hmm.
It has zero value right now. Unless you are telling me these guys are stupid and don't know what they're doing, because these guys can remove all these cards and put it in survival mode, right? They can do that.
Yeah.
They haven't done it consciously. They're they're both playing. Vaktis is playing survival mode. Vaktis is actually has max cards. So what happens? Vaktis goes all the way to the top and then he doesn't find any opponent.
Ah,
That's the
okay.
problem, right? And he is very vocal about it actually. And I think it's a massive flaw in the system that
Yeah.
there is not enough player playing at the high level. So once you and the reason that happens, the moment people see Vaktis's name, they just surrender.
Mm.
So he gets higher and higher with each surrender, but after certain point, he gets so high he doesn't get
They
anything,
can't play anymore. Yeah.
right? So this is a flaw in the system, and we have to fix it. But I am not making a big deal about it right now because we have bigger fish to fry. We have the Conclave Arcana launch coming up, and we got to get that right. So, but this is something we got to fix, and we
Yeah.
cannot have it. So, getting back to why I am not going all in on survival, I am playing survival. I have an account that is on Xbot, and I play manually as well on that same account where I have my
Oh, yeah.
spare
Extra
card,
cards. Yeah.
extra cards that are playing survival. But I'm not going on all in because I don't think these guys are stupid. So I am on both sides, just like these guys, because they are seeing future value in research, and I at least have to have some amount of
Something.
research. I'm producing 216, and I'm keeping more. I took all my research offline. I'm slowly taking them back online because I have to manage this resource imbalance, which I showed you, right?
Yeah.
I am running a lot of deficit. And if prices are low, like right now, that is great for someone like me because
Hmm.
I can buy those resources. I want the resource prices to be low.
Well, we're about to get the first. It's indirect, but first um
Utility.
monetary, yeah, utility, monetary, like, but like essentially like some kind of financial incentive for research, right? Again, it's indirect, but it's going to give you the work sites that can create aura,
Yes.
and you can either use those for yourself, or I'm sure there'll be very high demand from everybody. So
Mhm.
that'll offer a lucrative opportunity for people that do have the
And
research to
they
do that.
said you cannot sell it in the market.
I saw that, yeah.
Yes. So
And not, but
that I think is a very good addition
mhm.
because it is not that you can farm like it. You know, I'm not going to give you a exit where you can sell research for cash and get out. I'm not going to let you do that.
I like that change. I mean, the thing is, we go back and forth about soulbound versus non-soulbound. Um, I I'm not opposed to more soulbound related things, and I think since research is soulbound, the things that you can get from research, specifically like the permits, those things should stay soulbound. When
Mhm.
you use those permits to then create outputs that impact the rest of the game, right? So whether it's potions and in the future items and spells, those are the things that are not soulbound. Those are tradable, right? Because other players need them. But the
Mhm.
privilege of being able to have access is not something that you should be able to sell, right? Like this is, and this, I'm going to bring up a sore topic, but like this was kind of one of the things that I understood about vouchers, but I never really liked at the beginning. It's just like you should be incentivized to get the SPS and stake it. You
Mhm.
shouldn't be able to sell that privilege or the benefit, right, with the vouchers back in the Chaos Legion days. Um, but again, now I think, like in many ways, the team has actually improved the game and the tokenomics and just the mechanics a lot. And here's another perfect example of, like, I'm thinking back to the voucher situation and how people were able to sell that privilege, and essentially that privilege got devalued, right? And now we're not doing that. Now you need to have the research, and then you need to go and be active and engage with land. So I think that's
Yeah.
great.
So, we like to call it stopping the leak, right?
Hmm.
So that's what, and it's not very elegant. Team does a lot of the things, and it creates these leaks because, this is what I say to people all the time, and people don't like me for this much. If you give people a way to make money and exploit, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You cannot expect that people are going to be nice and play nice and do the right thing. If you
Hmm.
give them an exploit, they will always take it. So we create these exploits and then we stop the leak. It would be much easier and nicer if you don't create the exploit in the first place.
Yeah.
But hey, we live and learn, right? We
Well,
constantly living and learning.
hmm well, the thing is, there's a balance there, right? There's a balance between being able to give value to those who are engaging with the game appropriately, while not letting that value reach the level of exploitation.
Yes,
So,
yes, that's the balance. That's
hmm
absolutely
but
that's
I like the change. I mean, I don't know. You were probably very vocal on that, right? So,
Oh
I
no,
mean,
I like the change.
yeah.
I am
Oh no, I
I am
meant
one
vocal
of the
vocal in
people.
support of it. Yeah.
Yes, I am one of the people who want. I do not want a very easy way. Like I am not going to give you exit liquidity. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you exit liquidity. If you want to exit, exit.
Yeah.
You're going to sell things at bottom price. That's the right way. And if you want to wait, if you want to be involved, if you wait, you have to be involved. There is no other way. And then
Hmm.
prices are going to rally. That's our expectation. That's why we're here, right? We want the game to survive, game to thrive.
Yeah.
So, and if that happens, prices of everything will be higher than where it is right now. And
Well,
then,
yeah.
if you wait, you are going to be rewarded.
I mean, speaking of which, what's going to be interesting here, as we were talking about the value of the resources for land, is now you're going to get additional utility that pops in. Hey, Chaos Legion.
Mhm.
But you're going to get additional utility. I think first with the midnight potions, and then with the land, with the land. Sorry, not the land, but the conclave or conflict wagons is what I meant.
Mhm.
So let me put that down. Oh, this is great, man. Very good conversation. I felt like I learned a lot.
Yeah, well, that's the intent. That's the intent.
So, oh wow, we're over an hour already. Um,
Mhm. Yeah, time flies.
time flies when you're talking about land. So, I like your focus here, coming back to land, because there's so much hype about survival. There's so much hype about Conclave Arcana. One thing that Dwayne was saying that I liked is he likes to zig while others are zagging or something like that, right? He
Mhm.
wants to be able to focus in. So it's nice to see that there are people still trying to take advantage. What are the things that you would like to see from land over the next? uh, Well, you know what? Let's give a time frame over the next like 6 to 12 months. Assuming now that Cryptomancer has command of the code, he understands it, he's gotten comfortable with it, and it seems like he's able to push out updates much more quickly. What are the areas in which you'd like to see them focus, so that we can get the land 1.76, 1.77 rather than waiting until the 2.0?
Mhm. So again, I've been quite vocal about it, and I am so happy with Cryptomancer.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm so happy with Cryptomancer is it is not just that he is an excellent developer and he is delivering the product, but also he is invested in his own things,
Yeah.
right? He is one of the top landowners. He has a lot of incentive for land to succeed, personal incentive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. So I always like when my incentive is aligned with someone else's incentive. Then we can
Mm-hmm.
work together on it,
Yeah.
right? So one of the improvement suggestions that I had for a long time, and you are seeing the result of it, with the utility of research. Is essentially utility. You cannot have an object that is fictional or conceptual that people are collecting for a very long time. I'm talking about research, and it doesn't have any utility. You cannot use it for anything. We have done that for years now.
Yeah.
This is the first time
with multiple tokens.
right? Multiple tokens, right?
Yeah.
This is the first time we're going to have some utility. Is it perfect? No, but it is something. It is something. This is the first time people can actually use research to do something. And that's great. My other suggestion was, we have this big flow chart to get to items and spells. That is the ultimate goal for land on the non-research side. Let's put it that way. So research is one side, the other side is item and spell. And if you follow that flow chart, it's a very long, convoluted way to get there. And with our current budget and our current understanding and resources that we have, we'll be lucky to get there in 3-4 years. So what I suggested, and they have taken into account, they're very receptive of this suggestion. What I suggested, that we need some shortcuts. That is okay to have the main plan, and we can continue to follow that main plan. But along the way, we need to have different shortcuts for different utilities. So give us something quick. Give us something this year in terms of items and spell. Now, it may not be the full item and spell, that's okay, but give us something on that side.
I agree. Yeah.
Notice that on the grain factor plot, all the other resources did a big low, and then it came out of the low. And when they came out of the low, that is the announcement that those resources will be needed for the wagons. If you do the new wagons, like if you have existing wagons, that's fine. But if you do new wagons, you would need those resources.
And the repairs, all that stuff. Yeah. Well, not just that. I mean, we're also going to have the midnight potions, which I don't know how.
Which is
wood,
research,
iron,
right?
and stone.
So that would require resources too. Research required resources. So depending on how you value that potion, because that's like, it doubles your odds.
I would hope that there would still be natural resource consumption with that too.
Yes,
I know that increases the cost, but at the same time, it's these are going to be highly desired, and hopefully, if we get, let's put it this way, let's just say the pre-sale sells out, or even if it doesn't sell out, let's say we still get about 500,000 to 1 million packs sold over the course of the lifetime. You say a majority of those people are going to be chasing these black foils, right? So that's like 5 million potions, 2.5 to 5 million potions over the course of the life of the set, which is a lot, but that could consume a lot of land resources as well.
Yeah, and I think Pretoria currently running at 30%. So I always try to stay at the average, and it is very deliberate. I try to stay at the average. So overall, Pretoria is running at 31%. I am running at 31%. So that is absolutely dot on average.
And you stay right with it. Where do you see that Pretoria is at 31%? Because I used to do it by DEC staking, which to me is under 20% right now.
Look at the screen share again. This is the first plot that you see. If you click on region matrix, I think, there you go. The first plot, you see it?
Okay, so 31 are active based on the production. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
Love it.
I mean, I helped build this tool and this site and the interface. So I wanted to make sure all the plots I want are there.
That you could see exactly the data that you wanted to see.
A lot of these plots, I created these plots, and then Beaker, put that together. Like this plot, the piano plot, and the resource metrics, no the individual factor, the bar chart plot, which is one of my favorite, like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
plot.
Good.
These are all my Hive post, and the grain production plot and individual resource production plot. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
see who's turning on research and not, like Regenerate 2. There's Vaktis, right? Look at how much boost Vaktis has, on research. This is
Yeah.
the base
Wow.
PP, and this is the boosted PP.
All right.
That's how
He's still
serious
chasing it. Yeah.
he is.
Well, that's good. I mean, we were there, and I'm not trying to call out anybody specifically, but I think the person who had the fourth amount of research had turned it off completely. You could see that there
Oh
was
yeah,
zero
yeah.
production now, right?
This is public information,
Kestrin
so we
there.
can
Yeah, yeah, Kestrin.
we can see it. There you
And,
go.
and, and again, it's not like, or even look at Michael B. He's down to 10 per hour, right? So a
Right.
lot of people have gotten away from research, but you still see Vuktis, Cryptomancer. I mean, even you're over 200. So you're more than some of the top people there.
Yeah.
But
So
but at
no,
that point, they've already gotten a lot of research,
right.
so they may be
So
thinking that, yeah.
it will take me, like, say, for example, Michael B, to get there. It will probably take me a year to get
Hmm.
there. So it is this decision of him turning off research and using those cards to do either resource production or playing survival, whatever he's doing. I think it's a deliberate decision. It's a good decision,
Yeah.
because for someone like him, he's top 3 in research, right? So how much more research you would
He
need?
may
Like,
not, yeah, he may
yes,
not need it right now.
right. He doesn't need it right now, and if he wants, he can turn it back on again later on,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
these are conscious decisions, and they're deliberate, conscious decisions. It is me who is playing catch up, because I never paid it. Like I said, I turned it on and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
That's what I did, because I did not. I used to call research. I still call it a city bus, purple and city bus. It can be whatever. You don't know what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have any meaning. So yeah.
Gotcha. Cool, man. Well, we can go ahead and start wrapping up here. Is
Yeah.
there anything else you wanted to share with me or with the community, whether it's land related or not? Just any final
Uh,
thoughts? I mean, we
I
didn't
will
even
tell
get
you
much.
something. I'll tell you something. I'll share an information that nobody knows. I am actually renting card to put on land,
You are renting cars to put on land.
because now there is seasons rental. So
Hmm.
you cannot call the rental until the season is over, right? So I get a 15-day
You get 15
window.
days of production.
15 days a window. I am renting cards. I'm renting legendary gold foil cards to put on land.
Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, first, this goes to show that you've run out of cards for land. So you're actually having to go into the marketplace.
Yes.
Um, but you're taking land pretty seriously then.
Yes, because I am completely out of card, right? And and the way it works, I have uncleared land left.
Hmm.
If I put gold foil legendaries, even if it is level 1, it cleans up the plot in 4 to 5 days, depending on the situation, right?
Yeah.
And it cost me, for the season, it cost me like $5 or something. But now I have the production for not for a week, for 10 days, let's say. 5 days to clear the plot and 10 days of production. So whatever that 10 days of production is worth, that's something. But plus, I have the plot now cleared.
Yeah. That
So
makes
even
sense.
if the card after that is called for, I have a cleared plot that I can put it on production, even with, like, reward cards, low PP reward cards, pretty quickly.
Hmm. Makes sense.
So that's what I'm doing.
All right. Well, the secret is out.
Yes.
Azircon is going for, or is renting gold foil legendaries off the marketplace, trying to catch up on
Yeah.
research, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited, man. I feel like so much of this is really starting to come together. And you and I didn't even get to jump into much of Conclave Arcana, so maybe we can do another round 2 in the next
Yeah.
couple of weeks here once we get a little bit more details on the potions and how all this stuff is going to interact.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. I'm available. My time is flexible.